Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.
Hey guys, welcome in on a very happy Monday to you now. The final day of February. That means the madness is almost upon us. In fact, for some of the smaller conferences, it begins today, actually all week long. For some of the bigger conferences, we still got a game or two that we've got to get through. We're going to break down 3 games here tonight for you, getting ready to take place before we get to March, and we're going to do it with 3 of the best over at WagerTalk.com as we welcome in the red-hot Drew Martin. I feel like we say that every time he's on because he just refuses to lose. Giant pain in the ass to the bookmakers, but tough shit on them. Drew Martin in the house, as well as Adam Trigger finding his lane, man. Also absolutely crushing the books right now. And a guy that has been doing it now for the last couple of years here at Wager Talk. None of the books like him. Steve Merrill in the house here tonight. Gentlemen, welcome in. The madness is almost upon us on a $9 Monday here at WagerTalk.com. So, Drew, coming off another cha-ching 5% play last night. Congratulations. I can't imagine life sweating out a Johnny's under. Never believed in it. So, great job by you last night. Tell us about what you got locked and loaded tonight, and give us something you pulled away with over the weekend, something you might have learned.
Yeah, Joe, happy Monday to you. You know, a lot going on here, but at least we're cashing tickets in college basketball, guys. So, yeah, make sure to check it out. Got a free play up on the homepage right now, Joe, and $9 Monday as well as the March Madness pass, guys. $100 off rest of season all the way through the national championship. So seeing it clearly. You know, Joe, you bring up conference tournaments starting and the Northeast Conference actually tonight. And one of the my favorite names, Fairleigh Dickinson, playing.
Ooh,
so
yes.
Who knows? I'm not betting the game, but I do find their college name kind of entertaining. Joe, one thing I want to throw out here is a stat on the Auburn Tigers. Yes, I'm an alumni, but hey, I'll make money going against them or on them, Joe. And one thing I found very interesting is Auburn is averaging 84 points per game with a Wilson basketball and only 71 points per game with any other type of basketball. I found that to be very kind of something that the market isn't necessarily in tune to, but something to watch here is the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament are played with Wilson basketball. So Auburn might be a bet on going forward. Just something that I found very intriguing there, Joe, with more than a 10-point difference in what the Auburn Tigers are scoring with a Wilson basketball rather than a Nike basketball.
So not all balls are made the same is what I'm hearing from you, Drew Martin. So well done, my friend. Going to have to keep that in mind, actually, as we get ready for a big SEC tournament. And Trig, talk to us here, man. Quite the streak you got rolling here in college hoops. Congratulations on a big weekend here. Talk to us about what you got up at Wager Talk and give us something you learned this weekend.
Well, Joe, I'll start with something I learned. And something I learned is things tend to trend back toward the mean, right? And finally, we saw the betting public get absolutely mauled on Saturday with all the top teams losing. It just happened to come on essentially the same day, where it was the first time in a while where you just can't lay any number and get to the window with the quote-unquote top team. So, I actually think that probably continues because I think there's still a market correction to be had with some of these teams that have covered at just an outrageous rate. this season. And probably uncoincidentally, it was my best weekend, best sort of couple day run of the whole season, because I ended up being on some of those dogs that cashed. So I'm on a 5-1 run, hit back-to-back 5% plays, and I have another 5% play tonight which is just $9. And we'll talk about a couple others I like on the show. So hoping this run continues, because I definitely need it. The first couple months, not great for me in college hoop. So hopefully we can make up for it in March.
Yeah, public did take a bath this weekend here. Contrarian bettors celebrating all over the place. And Steve Merrill, my man, continuing to roll into profits in college hoop. Nobody more profitable than you over the last couple of years here at Wager Talk. So talk to us about what you got locked and loaded for a $9 Monday, if anything, and give us something you might have learned here this weekend in college hoops.
Yeah, Joe. Well, hopefully people checked out my top 25 weekend preview on Friday night for those 4 big Saturday games, because the 2 revenge games I highlighted there, I mentioned there was line value with both Baylor and St. Mary's on Friday night with those opening numbers. They both covered. I actually put Baylor up as a free play for everybody on my site, and then I had St. Mary's as the outright 10.5 point straight up dog winner as a best bet for my clients. And one thing I'll point out about that game is I'm not going to write Gonzaga off quite yet. That was a 15-0 straight up home court, last home game with revenge, slow versus fast. So many things check the boxes in that game. But I think the Zags will be okay going forward. But yeah, we had a lot of upsets. In fact, Teddy Covers mentioned it here on Wager Talk today. Go back and watch that replay if you all missed it at noon Eastern today, as we had a ton of upsets on Saturday. He recapped that at the top of the show. And I mentioned that tread lightly, because we do have a lot of last home game situations here, revenge angles, and a lot of look aheads to the conference tournaments, which are starting this week and next. So have to tread lightly, but there's still a lot of value. I found a couple spots tonight, one in the NBA, one in college, $9 each. And over the last 10 months, I know I'm number one the last 2 years combined in college hoops since I joined the site, but the last 10 months, college and pro combined, 105% return. So don't forget about the NBA. 2 best bets tonight, $9 Monday, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
All right, guys. Then no better place to start here today with, well, then the Big 12, right? Talk about upsets here over the weekend. Kansas went down to these Baylor Bears, and Texas is getting to host them here tonight. Opened up with Baylor, a slight 1-point favorite there, along with a total of right around 135 and a half. And I believe Baylor now, since Kansas lost, Texas Tech lost, so now I believe they're a half a game back here, Drew, of Kansas for the Big 12 title. So they need to win this game to keep them hopes alive of taking the Big 12 regular season here. What do you think about these Baylor Bears heading into Austin here tonight?
Yeah, you're right, Joe, about Baylor kind of sitting on top here, controlling their own destiny. But actually, I think it's a good selling point on the Bears. Kind of sell high here. Tough spot for him, Joe. Granted, a well-coached team, very good, can make a run in March Madness. Wouldn't be surprised if they made the Final Four. But in this spot, I don't really like Baylor. They've lost 3 of their last 5 games on the road, Joe, and 3 of those at Alabama, at Kansas, at Texas Tech, all by double digits. So they really haven't performed that well outside of Waco. Going up against Texas, a rivalry game here. Texas, top 10 in the country in terms of defensive turnover percentage, a very good pressure defense. Of course, in my opinion, the best coach team in the country under Chris Beard, and the much better free throw shooting team, 76% here. That's for the Texas Longhorns. At home, 16-2 at home. I think the home dog is barking here. So take the +1, +1.5 it is, Joe. Also sprinkle some on the money line. I think the Texas Longhorns win outright in Austin tonight.
Neither team at full strength either here, Adam, because I do believe, right, we're still LJ Cryer, not going to be there. I think Texas still without Trey Mitchell has left the team for personal reasons. So the reserves are going to have to step up like they've done most of this year. Who do you trust better in the spot?
100% trust Baylor more. Baylor's a better team than Texas. I don't think there's any question about that, especially after this weekend. Guys, I was in Waco, Texas this weekend with my friend Chris Thurston. We went to the game, and Baylor, they looked excellent after like the first 10 minutes of that game. And what I kind of took away with the sort of the diehard Baylor crew that I was with was that game was kind of a coming out party for Jeremy Sohan and Kendall Brown, who really were kind of the two guys that started to get going and brought Baylor from, I think Baylor was down 13 at one point early, brought it back to close the half on a nice run. And then, they kind of took over down the stretch to win that game. Cryer is probably out still. From what I heard when I was there this weekend, he's not really that close to being back, even though reports keep listing him questionable. You go back to the first meeting, Baylor, Texas, obviously JTT out for the season, but he barely played in that first meeting. And I agree with Drew that this is it's actually a tough spot for both teams. Baylor coming off a huge a huge win over Kansas, having to go on the road. Texas, just squeaked by West Virginia. Now they have to travel back home for this game. So I don't think either team is in a great spot. I said my biggest thing, what did I learn last week when we did the show? I said Scott Drew is a top 3 coach in the nation. I actually think Scott Drew's a better coach than Chris Beard. If you want to sort of pin me down to say who has the coaching advantage. Right now, I think Baylor is a play on going forward. I think they figured out how to work around the loss of JTT. They will eventually get Cryer back, but with Sohan and Brown specifically are two guys that they've actually talked about potentially being one and done type talents, and now they're finally sort of playing at that level. At least it looks like that. If those two are going to play as good as that well going forward, Baylor is rightfully ranked 3 in the country, and I think they're the better team. So for the sake of the show, this will be my best bet. Baylor, I would lay the money line minus 125. I don't typically lay 1 or 1.5. So Baylor minus 125. I like them to get it done.
So Texas has won, I believe, 5 of their last 7 games here with the big setback, of course, there, Steve Merrill, was this game against Baylor in Waco, which quite honestly wasn't much of a game. I mean, Baylor beat them up in the paint. Baylor was a better shooting team. How much do you attribute that to being in Waco? Is there a big difference the way you look at this game now a couple of weeks later?
Well, I think the key is going to be, which Baylor team shows up here. Is it a team that was really focused on Saturday, or did they have a little bit of a letdown? Because that was a big revenge game on Saturday. They'd lost by 24 at Kansas exactly 3 weeks earlier, 3 previous Saturdays on February 5th. It was their worst game of the season offensively. They shot 29.5%. They allowed 52. So I really think they had that game circled on Saturday. As I mentioned, I had a free play on Baylor. I had that posted on the site for everybody. I mentioned in the video as well. Definitely could see them regressing a little bit here on the road, just one day travel and rest. So I think now the role's a little bit reversed, and the revenge spot now favors Texas in this one. As far as the total in this game, it's around 135. As you mentioned, Joe, Baylor scored at will in that first game back on February 12th, 2 weeks ago. They put up 80, shot extremely well from the field, over 50% against a really good Texas defense. So I do think Texas will play better defensively at home. The one concern you have, though, is that Baylor scored really easily down low. And in fact, they outscored Texas by 12 points from 2-point range and by 5 from the free throw line. So they were plus 17 from 2-point and free throw. Both teams hit 6 threes. So Texas has to shore things up a little bit down low. I think they'll do that better, though, tonight at home. And this game probably goes down the wire. Should be a good one to watch.
Yeah, it was. They did not trail in the final 11 and a half minutes of that game against Kansas. Only 7 guys hit the court for Baylor in that game here. Those 7 going to play a big part here tonight in Austin, too. Should be a great one as the Baylor Bears hoping to take the number 1 spot in the Big 12 here and need to win tonight against the Longhorns. All right, let's move on here. Game number 2 that we'll take a look at. How about the Mountain West with San Diego State taking on Wyoming here, heading to Laramie for this one. 128 is an opening total. San Diego State, 1.5, 2s I'm starting to see now. I don't think there's any question that the bubble and San Diego State, they're in the same conversation here. Wyoming, undefeated at home, 13-0 here, Trig. Is the right team favored in your opinion?
Joe, this line, I'm really baffled. I just don't understand how this line could be where it is. And I'll be honest, the only thing keeping me off Wyoming tonight is the fact that I haven't seen a single soul on San Diego State. I would have expected this to be Wyoming favored, maybe Wyoming even favored by a couple points. So to see the number where it is, and then just the pretty much everyone seems to be on Wyoming is concerning, but I don't know that they're wrong. I mean, Wyoming, obvious home court advantage, being in Laramie, San Diego State, 3-5 on the road this season. So you have to think that would play toward Wyoming's favor a little bit. San Diego State, outstanding defensively, probably one of the best in the country defensively, but scoring's like been an issue for them. And if Wyoming can figure out how to sort of contain Matt Bradley, I don't know that San Diego State scores enough points to beat Wyoming here. I feel like we've talked about Wyoming on these shows all season long, and I've said every single time I love Jeff Linder. I think he's done a tremendous job. Their shot selection is really good, and they've got guys that can score in the paint, which is kind of the way you would beat San Diego. If you can score in the paint against San Diego State, that's going to be a good path to victory. So I have to say I lean Wyoming here, and I'd say the only reason it's not going to make a best bet for me is because I can't bring myself to bet Wyoming with the fact that like 90% of the tickets and money is on Wyoming right now.
You smell that, Merrill? That smells like ass, which is exactly what this line is. It doesn't make – I smell shit here, Merrill, and I don't get it. I mean, even Ken Palm's got Wyoming winning this game. So what gives here?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I thought the spot was a little surprising, too. I thought Wyoming would be a slight favorite. I like Wyoming in this game. And Adam's exactly right. I mean, all the consensus numbers I'm looking at are pretty heavy Wyoming. Yet this line has actually gone from 1.5 to 2 in some spots, San Diego State. So can't figure out how it's moving. Obviously, a lot of small tickets on, Wyoming, and it's maybe some big bets on San Diego State. And that is a concern. That's something I pay attention to. But from a matchup perspective, I think this matchup is good for Wyoming for a few reasons. First of all, two good defensive teams. If you have insomnia, this game at 9:00 Eastern, CBS Sports Network might help you get to bed a little bit earlier tonight because two good defenses, two suspect offenses. But I do think Wyoming is the better offense at home in this game. And San Diego State has struggled on the road this year, and that's not a surprise because I think teams that struggle offensively, whether it be football or basketball, on the road is where you see it even more, especially when you have the unusual sight lines and shooting in college hoops. And San Diego State is 14-1 at home. They're just 4-6 away straight up, yet they're laying points here. Wyoming has been a very lucky team this year. They're top 25 in the luck factor. I think they're actually 26 to be exact out of 358 teams. We've seen the Sharps play against that luck factor all year. They keep going against Providence. They keep losing, by the way, doing so. Maybe that's one reason. We see San Diego State as a slight favorite, but the only way I would play this one is Wyoming. I think it's a good spot for them. And the other reason I like them at home is San Diego State's a West Coast team in the beach area there, obviously San Diego. This is an altitude game in Laramie. And I think that's another reason why the Aztecs have struggled with some road games this year, especially in the thin air. I like Wyoming as a live dog. I thought they should be favored as well.
So, Drew, it's an interesting spot here because the Mountain West, the way the tournament is set up, I think first round buys go to those teams that finish in the top 5, right? So San Diego State's not in that picture. They're 3 games clear of a spot of being able to get a buy. So not so much for San Diego State in the tournament seedings, but Wyoming still has an opportunity here to take it down if Boise State loses this week. So maybe motivation still for Wyoming. The game means a little something, but I don't get the line. How about you?
Yeah, I don't get it either, Joe. I think Wyoming should be favored. I think this is a wrong team favored type profile here. And we get San Diego State, just 3-5 on the road. They've struggled playing away from Southern California, Joe. And also an interesting note here, kind of piggybacking on what Steve talked about in terms of the spot, the location of the game. San Diego State, the Aztecs going from near sea level to the highest elevation in the country in terms of home court advantage in Laramie, Wyoming. Also, interesting side note here, due to Mountain West COVID scheduling last season, San Diego State didn't play at Wyoming. So it's been a little while since they've gone up to elevation. That's something I don't think's fully factored into the market. look, Wyoming's 14-0 at home, guys. They've also been a money maker here. 18-10, depending what you want to go off of the closing line or not. But I got them 18-10 here against the spread. So they've been a money maker. The odds makers have had them wrong all season long. And you know what? I get what Trig is talking about in terms of the whole world betting Wyoming. And that's the case. I mean, I bet Wyoming, tweeted it out. And, people on Twitter kind of come back, hey, the whole world's on them. This isn't the NFL, guys. This isn't, public square, which Steve Merrill does a great job during the NFL season on the Wager Talk YouTube channel doing his public betting video. But college basketball isn't necessarily like that. If that's your only argument for San Diego State, guys, hey, the Aztecs could win this game. I don't think it happens. I think the spot in Wyoming is a lot better basketball team than they have been in years past. So 14-0 at home. I think the Cowboys win this game outright. I think Wyoming's the play here, Joe.
All right, Wyoming, the play. Also keep an eye at the free throw line, guys. That defense, as good as they are for San Diego State, they got a nasty habit of sending people to the free throw line. And, Wyoming, one of the 11th best in the country here, guys, at nailing from the free throw line. So free throws are going to come into play in a close game. We'll see if Wyoming can get the upset as a home dog. And we'll move on to game number 3 here tonight. Interesting matchup in the ACC with Syracuse traveling to North Carolina. They opened up as a 7-point favorite, did the Tar Heels. 156.5 as an opening total here. Very interesting teams that can light up a scoreboard here, Steve Merrill. My question is, Syracuse away from home, not like North Carolina has been a wealth of results here. What do you think we get here tonight with these two teams?
Yeah, we talked about this game earlier on Wager Talk today. Brian Leonard brought it up. He actually leaned the dog here, Syracuse. He thought it was a good spot. Teddy mentioned how Syracuse a big banged up. Jesse Edwards, their big man, who's actually 12th in the nation in block percentage, has been banged up. Obviously, when you have the zone defense, you want someone down low. But one thing I pointed out on the discussion earlier is that out of 358 teams, nobody allows a higher percentage of points to be scored from three-point range than Syracuse. And it makes sense, obviously. The way you beat a zone is you shoot over it. And North Carolina, used to be a team that did not take a lot of threes back in the day. They were a big athletic NBA-style team. They take more threes now, though, and they actually hit 37%. So if they're hitting those shots tonight, I think this could be trouble for Syracuse, as North Carolina's a little more comfortable playing that way. It's a big total, a little bit high for my taste at 156.5. But over is probably the only way I would play this one still, is I think North Carolina can score. They can hit threes nowadays, and I think they're going to have a little bit more success down low than they would normally have against that zone with some banged-up Syracuse players. So I'll look at the over in this game.
All right, like in the over in Syracuse, North Carolina. What do you think, Drew? Who are you looking at in this matchup?
I was looking towards the Tar Heels here, Joe. Winning 3 straight games, going up against Syracuse, who struggled the last 2. And look, kind of what Steve talked about, going up against that zone, you want good shooting teams. North Carolina shot a lot better recently. They're also a top 35 team in effective field goal percentage, plus laying, foul fest range here, laying about a touchdown at home. Free throw percentage, 77% from UNC. So down the stretch, if it is a foul fest, you can trust the Tar Heels to cover. Not a game I love out of the 3 we're talking here, Joe. Probably the least confident. But if you need a play on it in the ACC tonight, I'd lay it with the home team, UNC, -7.5.
All right. We've got coming off of, obviously, what was it? North Carolina State was banged up. They're hot trash anyway. Good win for North Carolina there. And Syracuse got demolished by Duke. But like they said here, Trig, they're not 100%. So these Syracuse Orangemen. What do you think here? You trust them on the road?
Well, Joe, real quick, I just want to say Drew made probably the best point that we made the whole show in the last segment when he said you just can't, just because like the whole world's on one side, you can't just use that as your rationale to go the other way. And I think that's like, something we reference quite a bit. So I'm glad he brought that up. And I'll make the sort of transition to this game, right? Like, there's a lot of people on North Carolina here. Doesn't seem like many people want to back Syracuse. They're not necessarily wrong. But in this game, I think Syracuse is a total wild card. It's the way that they shoot it is going to allow them to hang around in some games. but they have been really poor defensively since Jesse Edwards got hurt. And that's, I say, my biggest concern with, trying to put money on, trying to, because I really wanted to make a case for Syracuse today, getting this number, coming off that ugly loss to Duke. And I just couldn't do it. UNC can shoot it enough where they could have their way with this zone, which has been awful of late. So, man, Syracuse is just a wild card to me. They can score, which makes it really tough to lay 8 points against them, because that's in that range where if they hang around, and all of a sudden, Gerard or the Boeheim, Buddy hits a couple threes, and now it's, a 14-point game can be a 7-point game real quick in that scenario. So for me, Syracuse, they shoot it well enough where they can hang around within the number. So that's it, but I don't trust them right now, and their defense has been atrocious. So that's going to keep me off this game. I don't even really want to give a lean here and sway someone one way or the other. I think you should just go find something else to bet.
All right, good stuff there, guys. 3 games should be a very interesting 3 games, too. Still a lot on the line for all of those involved. A lot of other games, too, on the card here going tonight with big implications. We'll see if these guys may be leaning towards one of those games. Maybe they like them a little bit more than the ones we talked about. But we'll start with Drew Martin on a $9 Monday. Best bets, $9 right now at WagerTalk.com here, guys. So, Drew, kick us off. Which one of these games on the card today do you like a little bit more than the others?
Joe, I'm going to Laramie, Wyoming here with the game we broke down, the spot play with the Wyoming Cowboys, guys. Wrong team favored. +2 is available out there in the marketplace, both offshore and in Las Vegas. So Wyoming Cowboys +2 at home. We get the Aztecs going from near sea level to the highest elevation home court advantage in the country. Wyoming, the better free throw shooting team, and 14-0 at home. San Diego State has struggled on the road, just 3-5 this season. So Wyoming, been a moneymaker all season long. Hopefully tonight, guys, Wyoming Cowboys +2, best bet for me, Joe.
All right, love it. There we go. Laramie 1 going with everybody, because like you said, Trick, everybody, the whole world sometimes is right. Go figure. So go ahead and talk to me here, Trig. Where are you looking tonight?
Yeah, so I have a 5% play up right now at Wager Talk, but as far as the show, the one that's kind of came close for me, I haven't bet it yet. I don't know if I'll get to the window with this because of the spot. We did kind of talk about that earlier, but I do like Baylor. I would play it on the money line. It's -125. Listen, Jeremy Sohan, Kendall Brown have really kind of stepped up to fill the void of some of these guys that Baylor's had out. And I was at College Game Day and listened to Scott Drew talk, and they kind of asked him, what have you done to sort of offset the loss of JTT, who's their big man, who's done for the season? And he said, we just worked on floor spacing, and that's sort of been the way that they've gone, that they've been able to play smaller. And that kind of all came to fruition in the Kansas game, because Kendall Brown looks like he's going to be the guy that sort of takes the place of the big man in that lineup. And those two in particular, they're kind of raw still. They're both young, but I've heard rumblings that they will probably end up leaving early to go pro. At least they profile as those types of players. So I think we've just seen 2 guys kind of grow up this year, and now they've gotten experience having to sort of take over for some of the other injured players on that Baylor team. And you throw them in the mix with Adam Flagler and, some of the other veterans on that team, Mayer. There's Flo Thomas playing, kind of picked it up a little bit to fill in for JTT a little bit. And you have Scott Drew, who's arguably the best coach in college basketball. That was my takeaway 2 weeks ago. So I still think Baylor is alive and well, if you will. And I think they're a better team than Texas. And so, just right there. I also never thought Austin was a huge home court advantage. So Baylor, -1.5, or I'm sorry, -125, or lay the 1. I think Baylor gets it done.
You and I both know Chris Thurston made you say that. All right, so here we go. Talk to us, Steve Merrill. What's going on? Which one of these games are you looking at here tonight you like a little more than the rest?
Yeah, quick reminder, it is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. It's quite simple. Every best bet is just $9, including both of my best bets tonight. I had a perfect 2-0 sweep on Sunday. If you missed it, shame on you. Don't miss out tonight on Monday looking for another 2-0 sweep. College basketball best bet, number one the past 2 years combined at WagerTalk.com and college hoops, and an NBA best bet backed by a perfect 100% super situation, which I give you in the analysis. The last 10 months, 105% return in college and pro hoops. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. $9 Monday. Game that just missed the cut. I'm going to look at Wyoming +2 as the live home dog. Live home, an understatement for a team that is a perfect 13-0 at home this year, undefeated on that strong home court. And more so to play against San Diego State on the road. This is a team that's 14-1 at home, but just 4-6 when they travel this year. And they're not a good shooting team, and that's really been shown on the road. This team averages just 60 points a game away from home, just 40.5% shooting, 30.5 from three, and 62% from the free throw line on the road. Meanwhile, Wyoming hits 75% from the charity stripe at home. It's going to be a close game, as the point spread indicates. This is definitely a live home dog. I think that free throw shooting can make a difference down the stretch, and we'll take Wyoming, the undefeated home court, getting points tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Wyoming +2. Don't forget, two strong best bets tonight, $9 Monday. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
All right, good stuff there. And of course, our friends over at the Gold Sheet, they've got themselves a play of the day as well. And they're going to be heading out and maybe, just maybe, a sleeper spot here as Washington takes on UCLA. Our friends at the Gold Sheet think that the Huskies might actually catch them sleeping. They're backing Washington and the points here tonight against UCLA. This is a great write-up too, guys. And, of course, all the write-ups for our Gold Sheet plays of the day. You can check these out. We post them right after the show on our Wager Talk Twitter page there, at Wager Talk. Just make sure you head on over there, check it out. And, of course, if you go to the goldsheet.com, guys, other games, the write-ups, great handicapping tools available to you right now over at goldsheet.com. All right, I am going to go today with one team that is red hot and one team that sucks, at least recently anyway. So give me the Fordham Rams at home to close out, making an absolutely perfect month. 4-0 at home so far this over the last month here in February. The only losses against, VCU, they still covered, and Davidson taking on a UMass team that is just going the wrong way here before the A-10 begins their tournament. So I'll lay the money line with Fordham to get it done, win outright against UMass here tonight. And don't forget here, guys, $9 Monday, like Steve mentioned there, best bets are $9 here at WagerTalk.com. Head over there. Make sure you take advantage of it. And to recap once again for you, Drumont, Wyoming, +2, Laramie, take it, damn it. As Trigg says, Baylor, -125 on the money line is the way to go. Merrill, he's in agreement with Drew and apparently most of the world. Wyoming +2 at home. Fordham is where I'm going on the money line, -125. And our friends at the Gold Sheet, they like Washington tonight, getting 8 at home, taking on UCLA. And, of course, don't forget, guys, we've got tournaments, conference tournaments begin today, all week long here for some of these smaller tournaments. It's a huge day tomorrow. We'll be back, of course, breaking down some of these games. If you hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner, you'll get notified when we go live again tomorrow, talking college hoops as the madness, it is almost upon us on this final day of February. And on behalf of Drew, Trigg, and Steve Merrill, guys, we appreciate you hanging with us. Best of luck with your plays tonight. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Good luck.
Between now and Selection Sunday on March 13th, there are still tons of regular season college basketball action to go. Plus, all of the conference tournaments and Wager Talk and Sports Memo are announcing their March Madness Bonanza special, which includes the rest of college basketball regular season, conference tournaments, NCAA tournament through the national championship, and any plays released in the NIT or CBI tournaments. Sign up for this promotion now at your favorite handicapper's homepage and get the rest of the college basketball season through the national championship on Monday, April 4th for just $177. That's under $5 a day for one of the best betting experience in sports. Act fast as the March Madness Bonanza special is only available for a limited time.